The UK is great, but let's be honest, Denmark eats it for breakfast in some areas. From trash to tranquility, here are 10 ways Denmark is just plain better. Hi everyone and welcome back to House of L. I used to live in Denmark for 5 years and I've been living in London for about 4.5, so I think I'm fairly well placed to talk about life in both places. In this video, we're diving into 10 ways Denmark is actually better than the UK. For those who don't know me, my name is Elle. I'm a data scientist, I paint, I write poetry, and on this channel I share my life, thoughts, experiences, and everything else in between. If you enjoy any of my content, feel free to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Let's start with something unsexy but important. Trash. In Denmark, recycling is taken seriously. People are expected to sort their waste into glass, metal, compost, and more, and they're given the right bags to do it. Now, this system technically exists in parts of the UK too, but if you've ever lived in central London, you'll know there's no recycling to speak of. It's more of a Manhattan-style free-for-all where bags of rubbish line the streets every night like sad little party guests waiting for a cab. Denmark also has something brilliant called Pent, a deposit system where bottles and cans come with a small added charge. Use the drink, return the container, and you get a bit of money back. You feed these into this giant reverse vending machine, and voila! You get a little printed voucher that you can use in the grocery store. 1 krona for a can, around 3 for a bottle. It adds up. Plenty of people collect these bottles and make a mini shopping trip out of it. It's clever, clean, and it quietly nudges people to care about the environment. Imagine that. Number 2, speaking of trash, garbage trucks that don't sound like Transformers mid-battle. I know it sounds niche, but hear me out. Garbage trucks are a daily presence in city life, and Denmark just does them better. In the UK, especially in central London, you're regularly treated to the full surround sound of a garbage truck symphony. It starts with a grinding engine, followed by the robotic "Caution, vehicle reversing" voice on loop, and then the grand finale, the hydraulic clink of bins being crushed into oblivion. If you've ever tried to have a peaceful phone call while walking down the street, forget it. Without fail, I've had people on the other end say like, "What is that noise?" as a lorry screams past. Now contrast that with Denmark. The garbage trucks there are almost stealthy. You barely see them, you rarely hear them, and yet somehow the bins get emptied, the streets stay clean, and peace is preserved. I'm not saying they glide in on silent wheels like sanitation ninjas, but they come pretty close. It's the kind of quiet efficiency that doesn't demand applause, but definitely deserves it. Number 3, actual insulation, because feeling your toes in winter shouldn't be a luxury. Denmark, being further up north, knows how to do insulation properly. The buildings are built to keep heat in and noise out. A revolutionary concept, I know. Double or even triple glazed windows are the norm, walls are thick, and you're not constantly shivering in your own home despite the snow outside. Meanwhile, in the UK, especially in older buildings, you get the historic charm of single glazed windows and paper-thin walls. It's like the architecture is whispering, "You didn't really need warmth, did you? Just style, I've got you." Heating your flat feels like trying to toast a marshmallow over a birthday candle. And forget about silence, those loud garbage trucks I mentioned earlier, you'll hear every beep, rattle, and every hydraulic sigh like they're parked inside your living room. In Denmark, you can actually sit inside on a winter evening without 6 jumpers and a hot water bottle taped to your body. It's the little things, like not freezing. Number 4, customer service that doesn't make you question your will to live. In the UK, contacting customer service is like embarking on a side quest you didn't really sign up for. First, you talk to one person, then you transfer to another, then another, and that's only if you manage to reach an actual human being, which more often than not, you won't. You'll start off yelling, "Representative!" at a robot that calmly insists, in a few words, "Tell me what you're calling about," as if your rage can be summed up in a haiku. It's frustrating, time-consuming, and so needlessly complicated that people just give up. I've had horror stories with gas companies, internet providers, banks, you name it. Every time is the same. Long wait times, convoluted phone trees, and zero resolution. I think I'm still waiting for one of my train tickets to get resolved, even though I did manage to get through to a human. In Denmark, entirely different vibe. I'd call, ask, "Hi, do you speak English?" because you always start with that. And usually the person on the other end would immediately sort out the issue. No being bounced around like a game of customer service pinball. No drama. Sure, every now and then your problem needs a different department. That's fine. But 9 times out of 10, it gets fixed quickly, efficiently, and with no need for a post-call cry on the kitchen floor. Denmark just does this one better. Number 5, cyclists are royalty and the roads reflect it. In Denmark, cyclists aren't just accommodated, they're revered. The entire traffic system is designed with them in mind. Wide, dedicated bike lanes, clear signage, actual traffic lights for bikes, And most importantly, a general understanding that cars and pedestrians need to yield to cyclists, not the other way around. It's not just infrastructure, it's a mindset. The whole setup encourages people to ditch the car and ride instead, and it works. You see everyone from students to CEOs cruising around the city like it's the most natural thing in the world. Now contrast that with the UK, specifically in central London, where even after 5 years of confident cycling in Denmark, I'm still too scared to hop on a bike. Sure, there are some bike lanes here and there, but they're often wedged awkwardly between buses and parked cars, and the whole city moves at such a frantic pace that being on a bike feels like entering combat zone on two wheels. Outside of London, the UK is trying, I'll give it that, but it's nowhere near the level of Denmark. In Denmark, getting on a bike is peaceful, safe, normal. In the UK, it kind of feels like a dare. Number 6, an introvert's paradise. Denmark is basically heaven on earth if you're introverted. You can walk through the city, ride a train, sit on a bus, even stand in a club, and no one will talk to you. No one. You'll either be alone or with your friends, and casual mingling with strangers just isn't really a thing. If you're an introvert trying to escape the small talk and surprise conversations, Denmark gives you that peaceful little bubble. In the UK, it's the opposite. Outside London, people are politely chatty. Good morning, how are you? Have a lovely day. And inside London, they're bolder. You might get chatted up from the street. Now, I'm quite extroverted, so I don't mind it, but for the quiet souls out there, Denmark is pure utopia. Number 7, gyms that are clean, affordable, and blissfully uncrowded. One of the more underrated joys of Denmark are the gyms. They're affordable, well-equipped, and best of all, not packed to the brim with people. You can actually use the machines you came for without playing gym floor Tetris. In the UK, especially in central London, gyms can be a bit grittier. The equipment feels older, and during peak hours, you're basically exercising in a human traffic jam. I actually cover this more in depth in another video, so if you're curious about gym culture in Denmark versus the UK, definitely check that one out. Number 8, consistently excellent internet. Denmark has incredible internet. No matter your provider, plan, or location, the connection is consistently fast and reliable. The UK, not so much. There's a huge range in what people pay for internet, and oddly enough, the price has little to do with the quality. Some providers are great, others not so much, and switching companies for a better deal can often land you with worse service. I've had so many moments when I'm on a call with somebody at home, they step outside and switch to mobile data, and boom, the connection drops completely. It's generally ridiculous how unreliable it can be here. In Denmark, it just didn't happen to me, like at all. The connection just works everywhere. Number 9, you feel safe anywhere, anytime. One of the most noticeable things about living in Denmark was how safe it felt no matter where I was. Alone, on public transport, walking through the city at night, it's all fine. Even in the middle of Copenhagen at 3 a.m., there's a sense of calm and safety that was hard to describe unless you've experienced it. In the UK, especially in central London, you don't get the same feeling of I'm completely fine and nothing's ever going to happen. Sure, there are CCTV cameras everywhere, but that doesn't stop you from hearing countless stories of phones being snatched, people getting mugged, or worse. You know what I'm talking about. The presence of cameras doesn't really translate to a sense of personal security. When I lived in Denmark, I used to go on late night walks, like 2 a.m. in the morning, kind of late, and never once felt unsafe. Here in London, once it hits around 10 or 11 p.m., I start thinking, okay, I should be heading home. There's just a different energy. So if safety is something you value, and let's be honest, who doesn't? Denmark really does have the upper hand. Number 10. Denmark feels like a permanent holiday in the best way. Denmark is great for holidaying, and I don't just mean booking a trip there, although if you want to do that, definitely go. I mean the actual pace of life feels like a holiday. Everything is calmer, slower, more grounded. People aren't usually racing to own skyscrapers and collect helicopters. There's far less obsession with wealth, status, and relentless achievement. In the UK, the hustle culture is much more present. Ambition is everywhere, and while that can be inspiring, it can also be exhausting. Denmark, by contrast, is the kind of place where people generally seem content. There is a quiet confidence in choosing balance over burnout. So if you're ever in that headspace where you just want to breathe, slow down, and surround yourself with people who aren't trying to 10x their life every second, Denmark really is the vibe. Those were just 10 ways Denmark is better than the UK, but honestly, I could probably list 20 more. If you've lived in both places too, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy this video or anything else on my channel, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It really helps me keep making this kind of content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!